The North Hunterdon-Voorhees Regional High School District Board of Education meeting for Tuesday, May 23rd, 2023 is now called to order. In accordance with the requirements of the Open Public Meeting Act, NJSA 1046, adequate notice of the meeting has been provided by submission of notice of the time, date, and location to the Star Ledger on January 11th, 2023, and the Hunterdon County Democrat on January 12th, 2023. Notice, and to the extent known, the agenda of this meeting has been posted at North Hunterdon High School and Voorhees High School, provided to the municipal clerks of Bethlehem Township, Caliphon Borough, Town of Clinton, Clinton Township, Franklin Township, Glen Gardner Borough, Hampton Borough, Highbridge Borough, Lebanon Township, Tewksbury Township, and Union Township, as well as other interested parties, and posted on the district website. Fire exits are located in the direction indicated. If alerted to fire, please move in a calm and orderly fashion to the nearest smoke-free exit. At this time, please silence all cell phones. Can I have a roll call, please?
Ms. Nomi? Mr. Chapman?
Here.
Ms. Crisologo?
Present.
Mr. Farmanish? Ms. Gallo?
Here.
Ms. Hintz?
Here.
Ms. Cotrin?
Here.
Mr. Mueller?
Here.
Ms. Selena?
Here.
Mr. Stanton? Ms. Beato?
Here.
And Mr. Kirchberger?
Here.
Thank you.
Assuming we have quorum.
Yes.
And now we have Dan. Dan, say here.
Here.
Parking is tricky tonight.
Present.
All right. Yeah, but please stand for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, can I get a motion and a second to approve agenda item 4.1, which are the minutes from the April 25th, 2023 school board meeting? Motion, please.
So moved.
Tara?
Second.
Second. Nicole? Shelley? Second, Shelley. Any discussion? Any abstentions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, the next item on the agenda was to be a goal-setting discussion. We have postponed that for this month. So we are going to do that next month. Probably going to do that next month. We're pending Gwen's availability. But the agenda for next month will be updated once we get confirmation from Gwen. In advance of doing that next month, we are going to ask that everyone completes the board self-evaluation, and there'll be instructions sent out to everyone. It's on the same website and the same place where the chief school administrator evaluation process was housed. It's the same login. It's just the board self-evaluation is another link to a different evaluation, which becomes input for the goal setting.
Question? 6. Move it to 6 again?
If we get that confirmed, then I was going to mention in my president's report of when I read out the time and date of the next meeting, that time, if we do get that confirmed for next month, would be moved to 6 p.m. But now I just mentioned it. So, all right, so that being skipped, then we can head right to the board student representatives report, where this month we get the opportunity to thank our student representatives for their service this year. I think this is the last month that you guys have been here. So the principals are going to get up and say a few words in recognition of each of you, and then we'll take some pictures, and we'll thank you again for all of your excellent contributions this year. And I think that, this is the 3rd year that we've done this. And I think it keeps getting better and better. Like the contributions and the voices that you guys lended to our discussions were important and valuable, and so we thank you for that. And hopefully, we'll just continue this trend of, making the students feel like an actual part of what we're doing. So, thank you from the board. And are you guys going to get up and
So I don't know, they were gonna do their report first? or you
Oh, I
wanna-
didn't know if they had I'm sorry.
That's
Sorry.
our job.
All right, listen.
There you go.
You're gonna come here empty.
My bad. So let's get those reports. So Sienna, are you gonna kick us off? Who's going first?
My section.
So for previous school-wide events, on Friday, May 12th, we had Relay for Life, which raised $50,000 in fundraising for cancer research. The Ceramics Club held a Mother's Day sale during L1 and L2. The Northern Lights hosted an open mic night on May 18th. Students performed poetry, musical acts, spoken word monologues, and more, all of which is part of the magazine that is available on the North website. For upcoming school-wide events, we have the May Blood Drive, which is tomorrow from 7:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. And we highly encourage everyone in attendance to come up tomorrow. Save life. Tonight, students who have excelled in the study of foreign languages will attend the award ceremony for language at 6:30. Awards will be given for excellence in the study of language, extra effort in the study of language, and seniors who have earned the prestigious Seal of Biliteracy. The music department will be having their spring awards banquet tomorrow at 6:30 in the cafe. The second annual Cultural Celebrations Day will take place on Thursday of this week from 11:30 a.m. to 2:30 in the main gym. Again, we highly encourage everyone here to come out to check it out. The final exams for North will be held on Wednesday, June 6th to June 9th, and on Monday, the 12th. Makeup finals will be on Tuesday, the 13th. And as this is our final meeting, I would just like to say thank you to the board and Dr. Cottrell for this wonderful opportunity this year. It didn't give Sienna and I a platform just to report on the activities and going-ons in North, but to actually represent the voice of the student body and the changes that we all hope to advocate for, especially during our meetings with Dr. Cottrell and the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee. While no one school or area can ever be perfect, after having had the opportunity to hear what goes on in these meetings and also the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion meetings, it is clear that North Hunterdon is determined to work toward constant improvement rather than settling for just okay. In my 4 years at North, I'm happy to say that there have been many changes in positive direction, and when issues have come up that concern members of our community, we have all been provided a place to voice our concerns and fight for equity and inclusion in every classroom. So thank you for an opportunity to be a part of that positive change, and we hope to continue to see it as we move forward with everything we've learned in this school. And I will now pass it on to Sam.
Alrighty, bittersweet moment here. Last report. So for athletics, for girls golf, we have Esther Choi, who finished second in the Hunterdon-Voorhees tournament. Kelly Firesinger finished fifth. And Isha Menderhand finished seventh, all for girls golf tournaments. For spring track and field, Danielle Dicio and Kente Edwards were named the MVPs at the Hunterdon-Voorhees track meet. Holden Scheiper shot an even par of 72 to win the Hunterdon County Golf Tournament. The Lady Lions softball team captured their first ever Hunterdon-Voorhees championship with a 3-win over top-seeded, 3-time defending champion, Hunterdon Central. Wow. Yes. Katie Reed hit a 3-run homer at the top of the 6th inning and was game MVP. Hitter Sky Cook also dominated the game, only giving up 4 hits, 3 walks, and had 5 strikeouts. The boys baseball team won their first round of playoffs 5-1 over Manhattan. So some senior events. On June 1st at 6:30, the senior awards for senior awards and senior athletic awards will take place in the theater. The senior class luncheon hosted by the PTSA will take place on June 9th. Seniors have their graduation practice dates on June 9th and the 12th, and graduation is on the 14th at 10 a.m. Senior prom will take place this weekend on May 19th. Project graduation will also take place on June 15th from 9 p.m. to the 14th at 9 p.m. to the 15th at 6 a.m. And then on behalf of the senior class, we want to thank the administration, PTSA, teachers, and parents for everything that they have done to allow us to have the events where we can celebrate each other's accomplishments. We are grateful for all of your sacrifices and time, and that concludes my last and final report. But that's not all. Me personally, I just want to thank Dr. Cottrell,
and all of you board members for this experience and opportunity. I truly believe that this position should continue in the future and will help you further understand what goes on through the student's perspective. I encourage you to take the input that we give you to also improve North Hunterdon, and to just have us be proactive as a community. With that being said, I am grateful to have been a student board representative, and I'm honored to have provided you with feedback, suggestions, input, and insights as a student. I hope and pray that as the year goes on, things improve and continue to get better. There's always work to be done, always remember that, and thank you for this opportunity. I look forward to coming back and visiting you all soon.
Hi, everybody. That was really well done. To be honest, not as eloquently typed out, but I do best on my feet, so just go with it. So as far as school events go, before I get to mine, thank you. Today we had another one of our very successful blood drives at the school. We've had the opportunity to work a lot with, I believe, the New York Blood Center through those drives, providing just a lot of life-saving blood. Obviously, we're in the middle of a blood shortage, so that's always a wonderful event to see at the school. Additionally, we have Relay for Life coming up. I know that North's Relay for Life just concluded, and as someone who's been able to spearhead that process at the school, it's really wonderful to see another group raising just as much money for the American Cancer Society. This year, Voorhees is going to be supporting the Relay for Life of Hunterdon County, which will be June 2nd at Hunterdon Central. As for what we're doing on our end, we recently started up a popcorn virtual sale, and we've been able to raise just over $300 in the past 2 days, so baby steps, but we're getting there. Something very exciting, we have prom coming up this Thursday at Steel Stacks. I know the junior and senior classes are very excited for that fun time. As far as other senior activities, we are looking up next week on our class trips. Our dinner cruise around Manhattan is on the 5th. Oh, I'm gonna get these dates wrong, so I'm not gonna say them, which is funny because I plan the trips. And then our class trip to Dorney Park. We are also in the process of planning a senior picnic similar to the senior luncheon at North, and a senior sunrise as just kind of one final goodbye. Our awards night will also be June 6th. We'll be recognizing members of the senior class for all of their hard work and accomplishments over the year. And as far, I think that's it for senior activities. For our athletics, we had our returning Mind of the Athlete presentation, which we see every season. It was obviously a very helpful kind of time just for our athletes to remember to remain mindful of their well-being while playing their sports. And additionally, I wanted to shout out our girls golf team, who are not only Hunterdon-Warren Sussex champs this year, but also state champs, I believe. That would be bad if I messed that up. But they had a very successful season. They did very well, yes. Additionally, I wanted to just highlight a recent event that we had was our wellness fair that was hosted by our counseling department. It was a really wonderful event that encouraged mindfulness and mental health with various wellness practices. We got to hang out with therapy dogs and go around to a bunch of awesome companies that are really doing their best to make a mark on the world of mental health and advocacy. So it was a wonderful opportunity. We additionally had a career fair that featured dozens of presentations regarding future paths and was attended by 43 members of the sophomore and junior class. It's never too soon to start thinking about what's next, so that was a really wonderful opportunity. And I think the last thing on my part is as we head to graduation, which will be June 14th, also at 10 a.m. Everyone's kind of getting ready for that final stretch, and I have a speech I need to write for that, so I can. And I think that concludes my report. I apologize for the speech, I had a long day. I did just want to say a very sincere, and Kate will go next, a very sincere thank you to both Mr. Peterson and to the board, as well as to the members of our school who voted us to be up here. It's been an honor to serve as class president for 4 years, but I had never felt I had been given the opportunity to share my voice in this kind of way before. And as someone who is very passionate about civic engagement, it was really awesome to get to take that next step and to represent my class. I'm very proud of them, their accomplishments, very proud of the school. And to kind of just get to be up here and get a piece of the action and see how you guys do what you do was a really wonderful experience and a great opportunity. So thank you very much for that.
Okay, so I have no report, but I would just like to thank everyone that's involved in all this that we do here. I think all 4 of us are just really, really grateful to get the opportunity to be here and share kind of the day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month, I guess, of what goes on in our schools and give you guys the ability to take that and progress with it. So I think we're all very grateful, and just as one last thank you from, I think, all 4 of us, we really appreciate being involved in all this and having all of us here together.
our official name.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I'm gonna make a proclamation, an official executive decision that yes, you guys can take those.
Thank you. I was like, I don't know when to ask this.
We're gonna need a referendum to fund that.
So obviously we had some very impressive student reps this year. I'm really proud of Sienna and Danica. You guys represented North Hunterdon well. It's been a pleasure to work with you throughout the year. I really enjoyed our monthly meetings. It was a great excuse for us to get together, and I appreciate your honesty. Even when there were conversations that were maybe critical of myself or the school in general, you were brave enough to bring this to my attention. So I thank you for that. You guys are awesome reps. And I just wanted to give a little bit more information about both Danica and Sienna as we honor them tonight. So Danica is very active within the school. She's actually our vice president of the senior class, as well as the Secretary General for the Model UN, and was nominated to attend the Conference of National Affairs for Model UN. Danica is also the Chief Justice of YAG, which is Youth in Government, and she's the National Honor Society President. Danica also swam... English Honor Society President, sorry. She also swam for North Hunterdon for 3 years. She missed a year because of COVID. We didn't swim that year. And so in the fall, she will be attending Stevens Institute of Technology, and she will be working towards a master's degree in software engineering. So that's Danica, pretty impressive. Also impressive, we have Sienna. She is the officer of our diversity club, as well as a member of the US Alliance. She has been a varsity softball team member, and that's, you can see her little extra enthusiasm about our awesome varsity softball season this year, as well as she's been on our varsity track team for the past 2 years. Outside of school, Sienna is a member of the Tri-State Warriors, which is a women's professional football team. And yes, that is a team that tackles. We clarified that today. As well as also a flag football league, and she's trying out for the USA team for that as well. She'll be attending Howard University in the fall and plans to receive an accelerated master's degree in sociology and criminology, as well as a minor in strategic, legal, and management communications, and she will graduate with a law degree. I think I got that right.
I'm like Lauren. I didn't type anything up. I'm a little note person. But I wanted to start by just saying to Danica and Sienna, I wish you all the best in your future endeavors. It was great hearing your reports each and every week. So congratulations on your upcoming graduation. All right. So we were just here last month, and I was already talking about Lauren Alligood. So let me just tell you, refresh your memory on that a little bit more again. She's in the Model UN. She is the Class of 2023 President. She's involved with youth and government. And she is going to, see if I get this right, you have like a dual enrollment. Joint enrollment. She will be attending the University of St. Andrews in Scotland for 2 years, and then William and Mary for 2 years. And she's majoring in political science. So, international relations. Hey. All right. Catherine Christ, member of our field hockey team, played varsity. She also was involved with our swim team for 4 years. Something that I found out today that I did not know you never shared with me all the times I pulled you out of your classes so we could talk. You never told me that you raised sheep and took care of sheep.
How did you find out about the sheep? Sorry.
I know people. And so, I was very impressed with raising sheep. So that was impressive.
All 18 of them.
Yes, I know that. That was exactly how many were down in there. Catherine will be attending Quinnipiac University in the Honors College, and I believe you're studying occupational therapy. Am I correct? Which is great because she's a member of our unified program, so maybe we could use you in the future. All right. Congratulations. Thank you.
Probably have more room over here, yeah. Rob, if I could borrow you. Yeah. Let's do all four together. Thank you very much. Yeah, doesn't matter. Yeah. let me see. One more. Let me see. Thank you.
Did we get a motion in a second?
Thank you. Bye. Enjoy the awards. Bye, ladies. Thank you all again.
Okay, well, that was fun.
Yeah. It was fun.
Where are we? All right, now on to even more fun. I think we can top that with Dr. Burdax, who's going to review the New Jersey Department of Education School Self-Assessment for determining grades under the Anti-Bullying Bill of Rights Act, District and School Grade Report for 2021 and 2022. You're up.
Is there something about who you follow in show business?
Yes.
Something like that? So I can't follow that act, but just to refresh everybody's memory, we are reporting to you the official anti-bullying Bill of Rights school self-assessment scores that the state has sent back to us. To give you a quick overview of the process, in the fall, the school safety teams at each school met and determined whether or not they met all the criteria that the state requires us to meet according to the Anti-Bullying Bill of Rights. They gave themselves scores. I brought that and presented it to the board. We then submitted it to the state. The state then approved it, sent us back the official score, and then I am required to present that again to the board. So that is what I am up here to do tonight. And out of the maximum score of 78, both schools scored an even 77. So we had a district score of 77 altogether. The one area that they took 1 point off at each school was for other staff instruction and training programs. And that really comes down to some volunteer things. We want to do a better job of making sure that all of our volunteers that are in the school are trained in the Anti-Bullying Bill of Rights. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
That was fun. It was fun for students, but it was still fun. Okay, now we are continuing on to the Chief School Administrator's Report.
North Hunterdon High School recently earned reaccreditation through the year 2030 from the Middle State Association Commissions on Elementary and Secondary Schools. Congratulations to the administration and staff members for their hard work to reach this achievement. As a reminder, the high schools will be closed on Friday, May 26th and Friday, June 2nd because of unused emergency closing days. And the school year is fastly coming to an end. Final exams will be given on June 7th, 8th, 9th, and 12th, with makeup exams on the 13th. And graduation will be on June 14th and will be again live streamed for anyone not able to attend. The HIB report for this month, we had one investigation which was unfounded. Reminder from April was 3 investigations, all of which were founded. And I need a motion for that.
So can I get a motion and a second to affirm the determinations on the HIB incidents reported at the April 25th, 2023 board meeting? Motion, please.
So moved.
Kim?
Second.
Second. Jess? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you.
And the monthly reports are attached for your information. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Bender. So now it's my turn for a brief report. As we heard during the student representative report, the graduation ceremonies are upcoming. June 14th at 10 a.m. are both the North Hunterdon and Voorhees graduations. And our next meeting is June 27th, currently scheduled at 7 p.m., but be on the lookout as that may change to 6 p.m. if we get confirmation of doing the board goals work. And that's my report. So we will turn.
Could I ask just a question about graduation?
Mm-hmm.
Is it, just because Nicole and I are new, is it common to make sure that there are board members at both graduations?
Yeah, so they're usually, in my 6 years, I guess, there's always been board members at each.
Okay,
And
I didn't know if there should be like a split, like, cause.
it usually just works
It
out.
works out, okay, good.
But I don't think that we ever like actually divvied it up, but it usually just seems to work out.
Okay, great, thanks, just curious.
No problem.
Thank you.
No problem. All right, where were we? Committee reports. Let's just look at the order. Let's start with Tara.
I have two things to report out. Last 2 Saturdays ago was the delegate assembly in Mercer County Community College. So we elected new leadership for school boards, and there had been a vote off of 2 for finance, that a gentleman out of Piscataway had that position, and that's 2 years. So they'll be our president, vice president for the next 2 years. There had been 10 resolutions that had been submitted. 3 of them had been removed, 2 were combined, and another one then was withdrawn that day. So there were 4, I sent you guys the link so you could review them. 4 of them passed. The 5th one needed a 2/3, and it was 60-40, and that was to allow VOTEC school board members and charter school board members. They pay into dues, but they don't have any voting rights. So, but it didn't pass. It was 60-40, so it needed a 2/3. So, and then all of the 900 series were reviewed without any additions, so everything was approved. And as they have been on their website, there's been no changes in any of the verbiage. For community relations, we met on May 18th virtually, and everybody was in attendance, including Mr. Bender and Ms. Burjax and Rob. We heard feedback from Mr. Bender regarding the student focus groups that he had met with, and he received a lot of positive information, some other information that he wasn't aware of. And one of the things were students were wanting more college planning information earlier in the years. They might launch a lunch and learns on many topics throughout lunch periods throughout the year, so that students can get exposure to the information that they seem to not be able to always find on the website, which was another topic. The website was overhauled 7 years ago, and Meredith Nagala reported out that it's updated when it's needed and expanding. We had looked at a couple other sites, but the cost to do an overhaul of our website, which is fully functional, would be expensive. So as a board, there's no action here, but in the future, if that's something that the community seems to need or want, we'll have to look at that and then allocate funds for it if it comes to that point. Rachel's challenge was discussed, and it had been so well received. And then the other topic was freshman orientation and trying to find out ways through the schools to be able to allow the freshmen to get an idea of what kind of clubs and activities are available to them, not only at that rush of everything new going into school, but to look at ways to be able to expose them throughout the year, and some of that lunch topics could come up. So, and that's about it. Communication with the community, and we'll look at the website when that comes. And then another area is that Ms. Nagala reported out translation of communications sent home to families and on our website. They did a survey, and there's 21 languages spoken at home as the home language. So there's a diversity on that, but she's starting to transcribe and send out communications in the language that is preferred at home. So. And that's
Thank you.
it.
Anybody have any questions for
Is it
Tara?
possible to let students update the website? It'd be a great practical application of like what they may learn in school. I'm not knowing enough about what it really means, but I'm just
Yeah.
like small projects to do it.
We can give it some thought.
I'm just throwing it out there as an idea, right?
I'm looking at over at G to see what.
I don't even know, I'm not, in comments, I don't know any extent to which.
But that's an idea.
And one of the things that had come up in our meetings were Voorhees used to do morning video, and they're looking, they haven't been doing it over the last few years, and they're looking to bring that back. That way they have the students there, and any information that needs to be, given to them, they're captured at that moment. So, and it's a lot of fun when they did the morning broadcast. I know my children all got to experience that. So they didn't forget anything when they saw their friends presenting it on the morning news. So.
Good point. Thanks, Tara.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for Tara? If not, then we will turn to curriculum, instruction, and technology. And Brian, are you giving the report for that in depth after?
I am.
Thanks.
And I think it's tough shoes to fill. She does a really good job at this. So I have a few pages I want to go over.
Okay, the floor is yours.
Very thorough. All right, so the curriculum committee met on May 17th virtually for an hour. All members were present. We went over 5 items that are on the agenda under section 13 of tonight's agenda. The first one was the district development plan. This is where the district establishes basically learning goals for the staff. And there are 4 goals that they've set for the year around accelerating learning through engaging materials, some alignment on the common assessment protocols that are starting to be put in place, addressing racism, prejudice, and bias, and strategies for promoting social and emotional learning. So in that conversation, we talked a little bit more about the accelerating learning pieces, and the administration reminded us that there's things like summer work assignments for the students that help them retain some thought processes around what they've learned, what they're going to get into. This applies to the 8th graders upcoming to become to the school for the first time. And there's still access to tutoring over the summer through the tutor.com application site. So that's also open to 8th graders who are upcoming to the school next year. So steps are put in place to try to help students re-engage quickly in the next year when they come back. The second item was an action plan to address gaps in a mandated program that's called the Special Education Medicaid Initiative, or SEMI. Basically, the school has 2 gaps that they need to declare how they're going to try to bridge those gaps. One is, the main one we talked about was a requirement to inform students that the school can be reimbursed for certain expenses for special education students through Medicaid. And there's a threshold to get 90% of the eligible students, the parents or caregivers, to send in consent forms so that the school can give the information to Medicaid. We got 86%, but that's not 90%, so we need to have a plan which the district has developed to fill that gap. There's also an equation that the Medicaid applies to try to predict how much reimbursement the district should be, in their view, should be getting. We fell short of that equation, but it's just an estimate, and we just need to again put in a plan for which we've done for how we might make sure that's aligned as best we can with the Medicaid expectations. Third item is the latest version of the home instruction list, which carries us into summer. That's a monthly type of an item. The fourth item is also this monthly type of item with the out-of-district placements to meet special education needs. And the fifth is professional consultants for student services. There's a new consultant for psychiatric evaluations and some updated rates for other consultants that we use. And the committee recommends that all those items be approved. Not on the agenda, or tonight's agenda, but the other things we discussed were summer curriculum hours for the staff. There's a total of 160 hours that the school is going to, or the district is going to have teachers perform over the summer, to revise some courses, to develop some new courses, update the biology curriculum, and integrate a new textbook into the English course. The state finalized cut scores for graduation proficiency. This is a test that was taken, and we discussed it as a board recently. And the state decided this is for classes 2024 and 2025, and this is to to demonstrate proficiency, graduation proficiency. They lowered the score, so more people, more students went over the bar, but they did eliminate one pathway to demonstrate proficiency, which is, some might remember if you had students here recently, it's called the ASVAB, it's a military aptitude test. And that used to be one way that the students could demonstrate proficiency, but that's no longer the case. The last item is our monthly data analysis. We looked at district enrollment. District next year is expected to go up in enrollment very slightly. North down 20 students, Voorhees up 50 students, so a net up 30. And last meeting, we talked about the number of students on the honor roll and high honor roll for marking period 3. It was on the agenda last Board of Education meeting. This meeting we heard about, that was marking period 2. Now we're hearing about marking period 3. And again, about half of the district students are on honor roll or high honor roll.
All right.
Any questions?
That's a lot of material. Thank you for that report. Anybody have any questions?
I just have a comment. I'm really happy to hear that the tutoring program is carrying over through the summer. Have we communicated to the sending districts that we have that available to the 8th grade graduates that are coming in?
Yeah, this summer I'm going to be sending that out. We just activated their email accounts, and it's going to be approved tonight on your agenda. And then yes, we will communicate that on the 8th grade parents to let their students know.
Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, thank you. Next up, John, Finance and Facilities Transportation.
Thank you very much. Our committee met last Monday evening. Everybody's present, fortunately except for Shelley. It was a brief meeting, but main topic was some of the capital work that'll be ongoing. And also related to that, the Polytech building, the bids were in, we're aware of, and they were all over the budget. So now they're looking at ways in which they can either come up with more money, or worst case scenario would be to rescope the building to live within the budget. So we'll just sit and wait. Unfortunately though, because of this delay, it does not, well, there's no way they'll be able to complete it by the beginning of the 24 school year. So it'll just put that out a little further. At both schools, tennis courts will be, well, at Voorhees, it'll be the initial resurfacing that was supposed to take place last summer, but there was a defective material that was in the pipeline, so we put it off for a year. This resurfacing then requires every 5 years a maintenance performance on that. So it was 5 years ago that we did it on the tennis courts behind us or next to this building. So North will be receiving the 5-year maintenance work this summer. They're waiting for temperatures to get over 80 degrees to do that work. Honeywell is working on preparing scope of work for the HVAC grant projects that we were successfully awarded. And our referendum projects that passed back in November, 3 of them are in, they're all under budget. 2 of them, one being the locker room at North Hunterdon, will be completed this summer. Completed this summer will be the North Hunterdon stairwell fire doors. And the 3rd item that will be done this summer over at Voorhees, the exterior stair replacements next to the bridge. Those projects will get started as soon as graduation finishes, and they'll be ready for use in September in the next school year. The other big item on the referendum projects was the HVAC upgrades. Those bids are being solicited. They went out this week, so hopefully, just like the other projects, they'll come in under budget. They'll have a longer timeline, so they probably won't be done until the spring, summer of 24. See, as far as the agenda items go, it's pretty routine. We recommend passage of everything on there. Tutor.com, which was spoken about, that's being renewed with the available ESSER funds. Also, you'll see renewal of the health, prescription, and dental programs. They were all well within the budgeted increases, so nothing to be alarmed there. So other than that, any questions?
I do. What's the approximate overage for the Polytech project? And if that overage, where is that money if we don't see any more state assistance funding? Where are we gonna get that money?
So right now, they're hoping the construction comes in around 22.5 million, so that they are well within their $25 million budget with all their professional fees that they have to pay, architectural and engineering. The bids were coming in the $27 to $28 million range, so that's why they're looking to raise more funds either at the state level or at the county level. If that doesn't work, then they're gonna have to refine the scope of the project and then go out again, based on the change in the building. So they are still hopeful. They have a lot of support at the county, so they are hopeful to get the funds in order to have a complete project.
What's the timeline, do you think, on raising those funds?
That's
I mean,
unknown at
that could
this
be-
time. I think the state is still working on their budget, so they think that at the state level, they can get those funds, if not the county. So again,
So this project could be pushed into 2025?
could potentially.
I think it will be.
Is the parking lot still on, that's gonna stay, of course?
Yeah, that's moving forward this summer.
We could talk about that in the committee, that, that despite the bids being higher and the complications related to that, that there is still like a good degree of certainty that this project is going to happen. It's just whether it's gonna happen with the exact scope and building footprint that was, initially scoped out, or whether it's gonna have to be with something else. It will depend on the ability to get funds to meet the funds and the quotes lined up. But I think we discussed the fact that there's
very little chance that this project doesn't happen at all, so, we're gonna do that.
Is there any value in contacting our local state rep, right? He obviously knows the importance of it, the value, is it to help them push it through the state a little bit?
I think that decision is up to Polytech, how they want to lobby.
Any other questions for John or the finance committee?
Can I ask about some of the items, just one of the items in section 16 that we're gonna approve tonight? The items under 16.14, all the books that get damaged or damaged and destroyed, is that normal for us to have so many books that are being eliminated? It's like 26 pages of,
Yeah,
it's a lot.
I think the weeding of books is part of the annual library,
Okay.
that's part of being a librarian, is that.
And do we donate them? Do we actually donate them, or do they just destroy it, throw them away?
I don't know for sure. Do you know for sure?
I don't know for sure.
I know as an elementary, being close to an elementary school librarian,
Yeah.
I know that it's a mix.
Okay.
As some of those weeded titles find other homes and others aren't in condition
Right.
or current enough to be rehomed.
Okay.
We'll look into that.
Yeah, because the Hunterdon County Library System does the big book sale, so I don't know if we ever give them to that, because that raises money for our county library system. So,
Exactly,
I mean, it'd be a perfect place to donate if we can donate.
What is the process of, it doesn't come to the board, is there a committee, administrative committee? What process
For the
for
library
vetting
meeting?
books and, and if they're pulling books and they're in terrible condition or we're donating, do we replace with same titles, or we're just pushing those out and putting on new?
So they look at the
Text.
circulation, which books have been taken out. I think the criteria is 7 years. If they haven't been taken out in 7 years, they're weeded. And then the ones that are in poor condition that are being utilized, those get replaced.
I just know that there's a lot of populations all over the country that could just use books. So even though they might be, I know, obsolete for our purposes, you look at Appalachia and other places where they could just they just need books. So I was just curious, given the volume of it.
we'll find a home for them.
Thanks.
Any other questions for the Finance Committee? Personnel?
Personnel committee met, all were in attendance on May 17th, and we discussed items pertaining to the personnel agenda.
Thank you.
I know you all appreciate it.
Policy and school security.
So policy met last Monday, all were in attendance other than Kim, unfortunately. There are 5 policies for second reading tonight. There's been no new discussion of those. They were reviewed last meeting and recommend those be approved. There are 2 regulations that are mandatory for first and only reading tonight, one dealing with instructional supplies for staff and one on procedures regarding requesting and utilizing federal funds. Again, no discussions around those. There are 6 policies for first reading. I'll just call attention to policy 0144. That's one we pulled off of last meeting. That deals with board member orientation. They had changed the number of days to 90 days for new board members to get training, and we questioned whether that was sufficient. We checked into it, and there are sufficient classes offered for the 90 days for new board members to meet the obligation in 90 days. So we recommend proceeding with that. There are 2 policies dealing with corporal punishment and limited circumstances when allowed. There is, and then several policies related to health records and procedures for the school for implementing health safety. We made a minor edit to policy 5305, changing it up to the "the" because it was grammatically confusing. And then the last item that we had on our agenda was to review bylaw 0152, which dealt with term limits and the nominating committee. Because Kim had raised questions about that and she wasn't present, we decided to table that to next meeting. We don't need to make a decision on that really until later in the fall. We still have more than sufficient time, so we'll retable that for the next meeting.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any questions for the policy committee? Hearing none. Thank you. Beth, would you like to give a committee report for the ad hoc committee?
Sure. I just want to say we had really great participation in this meeting. I think we got a lot of things discussed and a lot of progress. First off, I wanted to thank the principals of both high schools for providing us on very short notice with the current list of the different programs that are in place at each of the high schools, as well as for the students as well as for the staff, so that we could look at them, determine some effectiveness, see where we might be able to reinforce those programs versus change them in any way. And I would say that it was pretty overwhelming that the programs are well received by students, and that it really would behoove us to really emphasize and focus on trying to get the word out and communicate more about the clubs and what they can do for the students. And I think having our student representatives on those calls were invaluable for those discussions. And the students really want to unify, is what they've told us, and that they want to honor what makes them different, but also identify what they have in common, which is really important. One of the programs that we discussed quite a bit was the ambassador program at Voorhees. Because the way it's set up really seems to encourage a sense of belonging amongst the students. And while there is one at North Hunterdon, there are some things that maybe could be added to the program in Hunterdon to make it a more fulsome program. So that was helpful. Then we talked also about the staff programs that are in place, and that training is done on a very regular basis with the staff. And coaches were also required to take training on things like implicit bias every year starting in 2021. And so one of the points that was discussed was the potential need to continue improvement in ways to help staff address difficult topics that may be discussed or raised by students in classrooms. But it's been made very clear that teachers have to stay neutral on topics and that respond based upon what's in the curriculum. So I think, from a takeaway, I think the most important thing was that we've got really good programs in place. It's really a matter of seeing how we can enhance them. And I think a lot of the points that were already made about communication and getting the information, especially to incoming freshmen, maybe not on the first day of school, but even further in, would really benefit the student body quite a bit and to help them. And then we also talked about communication. We talked about the morning program that's being done at Voorhees, and that students really tend to value messaging when it's being communicated by their peers, and they take that to heart. And so while it's very important for staff to communicate with students, the students tend to get more involved when they're providing the input to others and being given the opportunity to talk about what's happening at the schools. So I think those are really important insights for us as a committee. It gives us a lot of information to work with as we talk about types of recommendations that we would potentially make to the high school administrations. But I do just want to emphasize, really was so helpful having the students there, and we're still here. Their honesty and openness and willingness to tell us what's happening is so important, and we do need to listen to them too. So.
Thank you, Beth.
Hey, Jim, I was just thinking, you mentioned that you have those open sessions, right, with students, right? I think, rather than being preached to, but you listening to, right, and then you doing it is a great example, right? Meaning students seeing it's coming from you, you kind of hope it makes them realize, right, that the environment's open for them to speak up. So, I think it's a great thing you're doing. Whatever little bit it helps, right? And it's a good role, it's a good process, right?
Yes,
Absolutely.
thank you.
Yeah, I second that.
And I just think, and I know you mentioned it, but I think it's worth just reinforcing that the value that the students and the community sees in all of the clubs and groups that are there. And then and the name's escaping me, and I was just flipping through my notes trying to find it.
Of the Alliance?
The one that sort of bridges all the clubs together.
Yeah, the Alliance.
The Alliance.
Yeah.
And so that was really good conversation. And to me, it's about increasing, one of the things that comes out of this discussion to me is how do we increase awareness?
Yeah.
And we talked about how that club fair during orientation is right in the middle of when freshmen are just overwhelmed with stuff coming at them. And there's an opportunity to reach into the sending districts before they get to their high schools and sort of make those incoming students aware of the opportunities that are available to them after they walk in the door, and then to come back at them after they've had a month to settle in,
Exactly.
rather than just hit them in that first day or first week. And that so that just seemed like an important revelation, I guess, that
And the student reps even said the same thing, that maybe don't throw it at them the day they walk, the first day they come in as their one day of orientation.
Right.
And that doing it once they're kind of settling in, it would be helpful. And I think the other thing too is the idea of having an ambassador, somebody that a student can feel comfortable going to as a freshman or a new student coming into the district, really would be beneficial. And that was something else that they talked about too.
Yeah, one of the things that I think it was Danica that touched, or maybe it was Sienna that touched on it, one of them, that it was how they were taking all the clubs and supporting each other. They were kind of supporting each other, which I thought was really great because it was bringing them all together. And the Lions Club is another great example of that. But it was, all of their messaging was the same, that and individually, without even being in the ad hoc committee or sitting with you, they were amongst themselves already working together. They said, okay, how can we increase awareness? How can we do this? What can we do together? They were kind of pulling things together on their own, which was awesome just to witness. I mean, in a couple meetings that we had, it was really cool.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Okay, anybody have any other comments or questions or discussion related to our ad hoc committee efforts? If not, thank you for your committee reports. Did I miss anybody?
Well, we had the county.
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yes, on April 27th, we had our Hunterdon County School Boards Association meeting. It was at the Chalet. It was in person, great to see. We met a lot of people from Flemington Meriden, Hunterdon Central, Delvaux. They had their Teacher of the Year, and it was Brian Smith. He's an English and journalism major. He was stupendous. I can see how the kids love him. And funny, he is teaching in this district he went to school in. And the teacher, his mentor, someone he looked up to in high school, she is still teaching, and she served him his certificate. It was, and he had just, it was gushing. I mean, I can't, the way he spoke about her and what she did for him. So it was really great to see that. There was a big discussion about ad hoc dues reassessment for New Jersey school boards. Districts are not happy about that. Katie must know the dues are going up. It hasn't happened in years, and there's been some pushback, so we'll see at our next meeting. And then we just had a legislative update, which I will forward to you because it's long. And Gwen Thornton is now the acting senior manager of field services. And we also had some milestones. Someone didn't come. We have a 10-year milestone, Carol McGee from East Amwell, John Mielek from North Hunterdon, Voorhees Regional. And we had new board member certifications. There was Elizabeth Forey from Reddington, Jody Betterman from Reddington, and then we have here our certified board member certification, Shelley Crisologo, and Tara Hintz, and also master board member certification, Tara Hintz from North Hunterdon Voorhees.
Yay.
So congratulations to all of us. It was a great deal. By the way, you can sign up to those meetings and go. Any one of you can attend. Very knowledge, and you gain a lot of, and you meet a lot of people, make connections.
And you can attend other ones. I work down in Essex County, so my community, my patients are important. So I go to the Essex County one so I can know what's going on in their school district, because each county meeting brings different, we're all part of school boards, but they bring different issues, and it's kind of fun. So you can just go to any of them online, just find out, sign up, and do it virtually.
They'll tell you the agenda. The agendas are usually different. But that symposium, that was a heck of a So I don't know, if you guys might want, that was the first time I had attended the delegate assembly, and very informative, so I would suggest that everyone do that next year. It happens twice a year.
Thank you for that report, Kim. Anybody have any questions for Kim? And John, don't miss next month's meeting, because when Gwen is here, she may have a plaque for you.
We did applaud you. We clapped for you.
You may get your picture taken with the plaque, so don't miss next month's meeting.
Shame on you.
Okay, I think that's everybody. Did I miss anybody else?
Nope.
So now we'll move on. Thank you for everyone for your reports. Now is the opportunity for public comment. During this portion of the meeting, the public is invited to address the school board with questions or comments. The public is requested to sign the register provided for this purpose and to state their name, municipality of residence, group affiliation if applicable, and direct their comment to the school board president. While all comments will be considered and a response will be forthcoming if and when appropriate, school board members will not respond to the speakers at the time of their appearance. The public comment period will be a maximum of 30 minutes in length unless there are unusual circumstances. Those appearing will be allocated 3 minutes to speak, and no one will be permitted to speak twice until those that have not yet had an opportunity to speak have had a turn. And I just want to reinforce that 3-minute limit, right? We try to stick as close to that as possible. I'll let somebody finish their sentence if the 3 minutes goes up, but I ask anybody who's speaking public comment to respect the ground rules that we have, which is 3 minutes, And then if there's time at the end and you want to come back, you can come back, but 3 minutes at a time. Thank you. With that, the floor is open for public comment. Whoa. I knew it. There we go. Thank you. We couldn't have none. We couldn't have none.
My name is Enrique Hernandez. My wife and I moved to Lebanon Township recently, and we decided to attend this board meeting because we were concerned by the video that we saw of last month's meeting and the request that books be banned. And obviously, this raises a bit of concern for us that there's an attempt to bypass the professionals. And that would be my point. We have professional librarians, we have professional educators, and we need to follow that process. I myself am a retired professional in a different field, so I understand that there are places of expertise where certain individuals have certain expertise, and we need to rely on that to provide us guidance as to which books are appropriate for what ages, rather than, let's say, on amateurs or a particularly emotional point of view. So again, thank you for your consideration, and let me step out of the way while I fill this out.
I may need my glasses.
Well, and I'll let you fill out the name and municipality of residence.
Yeah, I'll get it.
Is that here?
Yeah, I'll get it.
All right, my name is Don Sherwin. I'm from, live in Tewksbury Township. And I've been concerned about the book banning thing for a while also. I've seen videos, I've been to a few board meetings, and it just seems that, well, I'm a little confused because there's a group called Moms for Liberty that is not enhancing our liberty. I don't see how taking books off the shelf increases anyone's liberty. Students are not more able to express themselves, more able to have a wide variety of perspectives. It seems that the project is really about decency, right? Maybe it should be called Moms for Decency. But if that were the case, would you consider your political opponents, the people that disagree with you, are automatically criminals, automatically pedophiles? I disagree with taking books off the shelf. Am I a pedophile automatically? That seems indecent, undemocratic, and not America. That's my perspective. It's not the word, it's not the truth, it's what I believe, that we should enhance the ability of our students to experience, take in alternative viewpoints. We should not restrict history. I'm proud of American history. I know American history, and I know that it is great. It is ugly. It is the best and the worst, and it's nobody's fault that you're born into a world that is imperfect. It's not my fault. It's not your fault. It's not about making people uncomfortable. It's about knowing the truth. I have not yet once heard a business executive say, "Give me the sanitized version." Anyone making a decision wants the complete story, the whole truth. You can't make a decision based on a sanitized version of history. And as in a democracy, we are all decision makers. We all vote, or should,
We all are engaged in civic engagement, or should be. We can't do that if we don't know where we are, where we came from, where we're going. Is that 3 minutes? I just want to say one thing to finish my sentence. We need more education, not less. Thank you.
Suzanne Wilder, Bethlehem Township. Gonna keep this very
Very quick, I totally agree with the past two speakers, as I did the last meeting. Follow a process, policy 9130, if there is a booking question. Don't get involved in politics when it comes to education. And like the previous speaker, more is better, whether it be good, bad, or ugly. Censorship for political reasons is definitely going to hurt this country. Thank you.
Last call for public comment. Seeing no further public comment, we'll close the public comment segment of the meeting and move on to our next agenda item, which is, I need a motion and a second to approve agenda items 13.1 to 16.20. Can I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Motion by Dan, second by John. Any discussion on 13.1 to 16.20?
I just have a question. The clubs, what, do we have the same clubs for North, or we're just doing Voorhees this month, and, or there's no new clubs for North?
This was, some clubs at Voorhees didn't run.
Okay.
And this is just expanding clubs that we already have in place from 20 hours to 40 hours.
Gotcha.
So it was just kind of a reallocation of the,
And the Spectrum and the Needles and Hooks, what are they?
Spectrum is, I believe, our LGBTQ.
Okay.
Needles and Hooks is knitting.
I didn't want to assume. Okay, that's great though. Yeah. Thank you.
I had a question, more the 13.1 professional development plan. Just looking at the 4 goals that were there, one of the suggestions that came to my mind to top some of the things that are discussed in there is more of like additional help for the teachers and faculty to kind of start working together, maybe team build and figure out how they're gonna help one another to close the gap between the last 3 years of COVID and the academic and emotional losses that they had. So that was just a comment that I thought.
We can certainly consider that outside of this and
yeah,
move that forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure.
Anyone else have comments or questions regarding 13.1 through 16.20? Seeing none, and we need a voice vote. Seeing none, we will take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I just have I'm in favor, but I have an abstention on 16.15. Yes.
I was just about to ask for abstentions. Thank you, Shelley, for jumping the gun.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Any abstentions? Oh, Shelley.
Wait a minute.
Which one did you want to abstain from?
1615.
Shelley's abstaining on 16.50.
And I'm a yay for all, but a no for 13.1.
And Nicole is a yay for all and a no for 13.1. Any other abstentions or other votes? All right, seeing none, sounds like the motion carries. All right, this is our first opportunity for old and new business.
So I have a new business item that I wanted to raise. I've started noticing a number of car accidents occurring at the intersection of 31 and Regional Road. And unfortunately, they tend to be student accidents. And I wanted to know if there's a way in which we might be able to go to the township to ask them to do an adjustment on the lights so that there's a delayed green possibly. Because I know also, like, especially this time of the year, there's a lot of sun glare also that creates an issue. So like, for example, the intersection at Route 22 and Cokesbury has a delayed green. There's always gonna be an accident, but it's not that often. And I just wonder if something like that might improve the situation there. I don't know traffic rules or anything like that, but I just thought it might be something that we should consider.
I'll find out.
Okay.
So do you want me to bring up or do you want to bring it up?
I was just gonna bring that up in the new business. When we're approving the agenda, like by items, I kind of feel like it's a big chunk. And maybe we can section it either by committee or like, like finance committee or curriculum committee, something like that. So it's easier for us to kind of make comments on and make notes on, and maybe also for the community to be able to say like, okay, what are they approving, what's going on here? So they can hear the dialogue and conversations.
Yep, so that one has come up before and never like gotten traction. I don't see any reason not to, and I think we should probably just talk about it in one of the committees and then make a recommendation. So I don't know which one would be most appropriate.
John, can you advise,
Policy.
as to, like with your experience, how other boards do it? Or what you recommend?
Yes, you meant that.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. So this practice varies district to district, and it really varies based on the will of the board and the practice of the board. And some districts, I was in Bergen County last night, for example, they have conversation at this one district on all agenda items before they vote on all agenda items. And then they block vote just like you do here. Other places will move, district up in Warren County, they move committee by committee. Committee chairs will move section by section and then have conversation. But it really, so long as we're following the typical Open Public Meetings Act rules and any bylaws that speak to it, it is really, this is self-governance and what the board wishes. I would certainly encourage you to continue to be efficient, and you're efficient, and I think the community is clear on what the conversation is, but this really goes to what the preference is of the board.
So thank you for the comment, thank you for the suggestion. I say we take that to policy committee and we talk about the pros and cons of restructuring the agenda so that the sort of voting for each block of items is like lined up with the committee reports as an alternative. And we can hash it out and bring a recommendation back to the board. Any other old or new business? Seeing none, I'm going to ask for a motion and a second to adopt Resolution 052323-2 for executive session to discuss matters falling under Category 8 as reflected in the attached resolution. The board expects to be in executive session for approximately 1 hour, and upon return to public session, action will be taken. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved. Second.
Motion by Bev. Personnel, all right, so in executive session, we will be discussing matters that fall under personnel and contracts matters. Thank you. All right, motion by Beth, second by
Jessica.
Jessica, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained? All right, thank you, we're in executive session.
So where was an accident?
Motion and a second to reconvene public session.
So
Motion by Tara, second by
Shelley.
Shelley. All right, we are back. Can I have a vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right, we're back in public session. New business? Can I have a motion and a second to approve agenda item 21.1 and 21.2?
So moved.
Second.
Shelley and Jess, second. Any discussion on 20.1 or 20.2? Seeing none, we need a roll call vote.
Ms. Bonomi is absent. Mr. Chapman?
Yes.
Ms. Crisologo?
Yes.
Mr. Fortbanish? Ms. Gallo?
Yes.
Ms. Hintz?
Yes.
Ms. Cotran?
Yes?
Mr. Mulek?
Yes.
Ms. Selena?
Yes.
Mr. Spanton?
Yes.
Ms. Beata?
Yes.
And Mr. Kirchberger?
Yes. Motion carries. Can I have a motion and a second to adjourn?
Motion.
By Dan, second by.
Oh, Nicole gets this.
All in
I
favor?
get this one.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
You got the best second of all.
I know.
Thanks, everybody.
That's a wrap. Thank you, everyone.